So it's finally time that I got a new soldering station. I've been using this, it's a SparkFun branded, just kind of generic soldering station, Chinese made thing, for about 2.5 years now. I finally just got, it's an ET Neo or ET Neo Mod SX that I found at a fairly local electronics store. They're kind of a very strange little place. It's called PhilCap in Akron, Ohio. They sell a lot of just kind of weird little things, and they've just got like bins of switches and power supplies out of all kinds of random stuff just laying around. It's a really neat little store to go into. Kind of feels like I'm walking through my basement, just like 60 times bigger. But I saw this little iron there, and it's a tiny, tiny little thing. Just really fine little grip on it. Just fits in my hand perfectly and stuff. Pretty fine little tip. It's got a kind of flat area on it. And I thought, that's a really nice form factor. I asked the people there how much it was because there's no price on it, and they had no clue. They didn't know how much they were or how much they were worth. And they Googled it online, couldn't find any prices on it, which I still haven't been able to find a price, how much these are really worth. But the guy came back and said, you do $30 on it. I said, well, maybe. He said, 25? And I said, yep. And I bought it. So I got this iron for $25, and it's a really nicely made iron. And I looked it up. It says it's made in EEC, which is some kind of European something commerce. So I looked up the company, and they're Italian. So I'm thinking this iron's probably made in Italy, and their website and stuff is not in English. So I was having a very tough time trying to figure out how much these are worth. It's a discontinued product. I figured that much out, but the guy said there that it hasn't been used. It was tested by them. I've had it heated up here, which is why you can tell it's a little bit discolored. But they were kind of a new old stock item that they had. It says it was distributed by Avon Tools Incorporated in Ann Arbor, Michigan. But I looked on their site, and they don't carry this anymore either. So that was probably 10 years ago that they had that. You can tell it's been sitting around a little while on their shelf over there. It's kind of dusty and stuff, but it powers up and works fine. I just had to get a sponge to stick in here, and I just pulled that off my old station. I also figured out the base that they have here with it. Although it's a really nice heavy one, it's not the original thing. Normally they had a little thing that clipped on the right side of the unit, which I actually don't like at all, so I'm glad it came with this. I prefer having a separate base for the iron, because I like to have it on the left side. I like to have the station over here, and then I can be able to move this around where I need it. So that works really. That's actually better than what I had, or what it would have come with normally. Overall, it seems to be a really good iron so far. Heats up fairly quickly. It gets hot enough to work with, and it's, I think, a 50-watt iron from what I've seen. It's a very small form factor. Grip stays reasonably cool, and the way you change out the tips on this, which I'm not sure if I can get new tips or not, because it's kind of a strange form factor, but you just pull on the end here. It's just friction fit, kind of down in there. That pops off. This little sleeve comes out, and then you have this tip here, which it's really quite tight. All this stuff fits together really very snugly. It's got a metal heating element inside there. It's very nicely machined, and you just got it looks like a standard kind of Heiko tip, but it's smaller, just a little bit smaller. I checked my other one, which uses a standard Heiko type, and they do not fit on here, unfortunately. So I don't know where I could get new tips. If you guys know where I could possibly get some of those, kind of drop a link down in the description or something, because I would really like to find some other types of tips, maybe a little bit larger chisel tip, because this one's just a small, it's almost like a conical tip, but it's kind of flattened off on one side, which is actually not bad. I like using that. It's a good tip. It's just I'd like to have some different options for it, and in case that one goes bad, be able to replace it. Go ahead and fire it up here. It's just got, oh, also should mention it uses a standard like PC power cord in the back and has a replaceable fuse on there, which is really quite good. And there's a power switch here. Flip it, little light comes on in the front. Bump it up to around 460 degrees, maybe a little hotter. And as it heats up, while it's heating, this light's on solid. You'll notice here in a second when it gets up to temperature, that light will kind of dim down, almost out, and then it'll blink every so often while it's heating up the element to keep it at the proper temperature. There you go. See, now it's a dimmer there and it's blinking. Yep. It heats up fairly quickly. That's up to 460 degrees Fahrenheit. Clean off the tip nicely. I just have a bit of some coax kind of cable for like RCA type audio stuff here. I'm going to test it out on the grounding leads. This is something I soldered before. See how well it reflows this. That's quite a large heavy gauge wire there. A bunch of stranded stuff. So get good thermal contact on it. May need to bump the temperature up a little more. No, it's going. There we go. And that has wet that entire thing. So that's pretty good. It's not bad. That's better than my other iron was doing with this. So it's got to heat up that whole piece in there. It does pretty well. Once something's warm, it keeps the joint fairly well. It has good thermal. What am I trying to say here? Its thermal capacity is really quite good. It keeps the temperature at a constant temperature while you're working fairly well. I've looked up a little bit about this company. It looks like they do mostly kind of industrial type soldering rework stations, soldering stations and soldering rework stations, and some types of soldering like robotics equipment now for large scale manufacturing. So they seem to be a pretty good company, a pretty big company over in Europe. So I'm kind of looking forward to using this iron a little bit more, and this is the one I'll be using from now on in all my projects. It seems to be, I think I got a really good deal on it for $25. I have no idea how much these normally sold for, but I would say at least, the quality of it feels like a $150 iron. I don't know really how much these would normally sell for, but, and as you can see here, the front part, just the iron pulls straight off there if you just twist it kind of 90 degrees and pull out. And that's just a standard, like, kind of looks like a 5-pin DIN connector. So it looks like the iron itself should be replaceable if something was to go horribly wrong. Put that in there, lock it in. Locks in nice and securely. It's a lot easier than the threaded ones. It's just kind of a little, almost like a bayonet cap kind of thing where you push it down and lock it over. Not bad. I'm not sure what this little thing on the front is here. It's like a little port. It may be where you can put like a grounding wire on, because it has a little picture of a chip and then a line and then like a soldering iron tip there. So I'm thinking there may have been a grounding cable that you could plug in here at one point. And that would allow you to ground it to whatever you're working on, but not sure on that, and honestly I don't think I'd ever use it, so it's not really that big of a deal that it's not there. Yeah, overall, really good iron. Looking forward to using this quite a bit now. Hoping it lasts me at least a couple more years. My other one, the cheap Chinese one, sure did, so it's definitely seen better days now. The tip is just a corroded pile of mess, yeah. So, real good station. Yeah, let me know if you know anything else about these, and if you thought this was cool, give it a like. Have a good one.